Hello folks, Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU here for another Legacy video. Today's video is sponsored by Top Decked, and we'll take a look at them after round one here. So this is a deck list from the 5.0 deck list dump this week that is 100% in the full spice category. And it's something similar to something that I've tried on this channel before, but I was in a different color. So Nether Void is kind of this magical card from a very different design era. It is a world enchantment, and there can only be one world enchantment in play at the same time. It's sort of similar to Legendary in that respect, but like you only get one world enchantment, just period. And whenever a player casts a spell, counter it unless that unless that player pays 3 mana. Now, the reason why people like this card so much is they want to try to make it unsymmetrical. I get to play my spells, but you don't while under Nether Void, and it's sort of a sweet dream. It's something that I've played previously with green uncounterable creatures like Shifting Ceratops and Prowling Serpapod, but it didn't quite work. It was one of those like close but no cigar things. And some Nick Fit decks have tried it as well, rationalizing that if you ramp out some extra lands via Veteran Explorer, you can probably pay that tax while your opponent can't. Sorry, I'm mumbling over my words a little bit. There's been a lot of cough syrup on this side of the screen lately, is all I'm saying. All right. So today we are going to be playing with uncounterable red cards instead. Chandra Awakened Inferno, which used to be very popular in like the Red Prison archetype, especially the Ensnaring Bridge focused ones. And a new card that I've never actually seen before, this decklist dump. Inferno of the Star Mounts. This is a 6/6 uncounterable flying haste creature that has fire breathing. Now, if big hypothetical, but if you should get this thing to power to 20, it just directly deals 20 damage to any target. Now, I don't think that's happening in this deck, but it is text that exists on this card. So, we are going absolute balls to the walls, no breaks where we're going, full speed ahead on mana. We have Ancient Tombs. We have City of Traders, Lotus Petal, Chrome Mox, Dark Ritual, both Spirit Guides, and Seething Song. Okay? We're going big with mana. Oh, there's also Jessica's Will. Now, Jessica's Will is a modal card, right? So, like, we don't control a commander, and we never will, so we don't get that half. But this is going to be either a ritual, often for 6 or 7 mana in the early turns of the game, or an effect that lets us look at the top 3 cards of our library, and I can play them this turn. So, we are going to make a lot of mana really fast, hopefully play a lock piece, and then finish the game with an uncounterable card. And sometimes our card doesn't necessarily have to be counterable, because if we have a Trinisphere or a Nether Void in play in the first place, like a lot of that sort of stuff is going to just shut off counter spells, even if our threat isn't technically uncounterable. And that's what we see with Karn. While Karn is not a uncounterable win condition, we have so much fast mana here that like Karn that's powered out early and quickly can often just set up a liquid metal coating, destroy all your lands situation, or maybe even a literal win with Mycosynth Lattice. So we're gonna see how this goes. I think our games are going to be very fast for the most part, where we either like lock the opponent out and win easily, or we lose easily after a key card in our hand gets countered. One thing that I'm a little worried about is the number of colorless sources in this deck. There's tension in this deck list between wanting big mana and wanting specific colored pip mana, and we do care about 2 different colors rather than 1 different colors. and we're trying to run Urza's Saga for the just raw power level of Urza's Saga, in addition to the other things that are going on. It's like, it's real great to, like, play a Trinisphere or Nether Void to lock your opponent out, and then just win with an Urza's Saga, right? At the same time, like, we're trying to get to red for cards like this, and we also don't mind having extra red floating around. So that'll be kind of the big thing that I'll be watching for here. Anyway, folks, I hope you'll enjoy. If you're new here and this is your first time finding one of my videos, please consider subscribing to the channel if you want to see more sweet jank like this. And if you're a longtime supporter who wants to try out this deck list or donate to get one of your own decks on the channel, that information is available in the video description. Let's battle. All right. I don't do anything on turn 1 here, but I do some pretty cool stuff starting on turn 2. Some yeah. Yeah, your chalice resolves. Your chalice resolves. Alright. What do I want to play here? Probably Ancient Tomb. Probably Ancient Tomb. Leave myself with the possibility of drawing another Ancient Tomb next turn and playing Karn that way. But this shows that I am on a Chalice deck, which I don't love. I don't really need to fetch with Scalding Tarn immediately to, like, get Badlands, because if I do that, it's still turned into a mountain by a Blood Moon effect. Okay, so kind of as expected, we are playing against Red Prison. So long term, I want to get an Ensnaring Bridge into play. Like, that's the plan. I would love to draw a Lotus Petal here. Not. I have a little trouble emptying my hand for Karn here. Like, I can play a Karn immediately. My options aren't the best in that regard, so I think I'm going to be saving my Seething Song to Chandra Awaken Inferno next turn. Just minus and nuke all the creatures that are on board. Do not believe that I want to play out Trinisphere this turn. It could potentially make some cards like Dark Ritual worse for the future. Alright, so my opponent is the more aggressive version of my deck, which is going to favor them in the short term. But they don't necessarily have, like, the raw Planeswalker power that I have in terms of the late game. I didn't get eaten by a Fireflux squad here. Oh, fuck. That is very specifically annoying against everything that I have going on here. Alright. So how am I beating this? I have a Pithing Needle, right? Do have a Pithing Needle. Alright, we're going to have to do Karn-related shenanigans to stop that. Alright. Starting point here is Seething Song. I think I need to immediately go to 6 mana and wipe the board. A real big question here is, like, can my opponent get down to 1 card in hand so that this thing can attack this turn? If the answer is no, I might be okay. Fuck. Okay, now that is a Fury that gets to kill my Planeswalker, which allows it to fuck me. No. No. That's so bad for me. Holy shit. What a disaster. Alright, we in Ensnaring Bridge territory. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, I can get Ensnaring Bridge in hand, but I have too many lands in hand. I will still have 3 cards in hand, which means that these things can attack and kill me. Fuck. Fury was very specifically one of the cards I needed my opponent not to have there. Yeah, damn. Alright, Polly Walnuts, you get game 1. Polly Walnuts is a great username. It sounds like someone in, like, a crime show. I won't be explaining further. It just makes sense. Alright, I very much do not want Trinispheres in my deck list, so let's try to get a couple of cards in over that. Nether Void's also not great. Do I want to be able to Urza Saga for a Pithing Needle or Karn for a Pithing Needle? Probably Urza Saga for it. The awkward part there being that, like, Urza Saga doesn't get to do its thing if Blood Moon is involved, but Blood Moon might be coming out of my opponent's deck. The last slot filling is tough here. I play EE as a way to wipe tokens and artifact mana. That might be what I'm doing, and that still leaves, like, the 3 most important tutor targets here. So that's okay. I feel like my opponent is on the better side of the mirror, though. Doesn't make another void on turn 1, right? Wait, no, it does. Chrome Mox, Imprint, Nether Void, Ancient Tomb, Simian Spirit Guide, Nether Void. I mean, there's no way that's a mulligan. Is this what bullying looks like? It feels like this is what bullying looks like. Chrome Mox, Imprint, another Void, Ancient Tomb, 3 mana, 4 mana with Spirit Guide, turn 1 Nether Void. Let's fucking go. Yeah. Hello, would you like to play a land for turn? You would. Alright, they thought for a little while. I wonder if they have like a Spirit Guide and a Mox or something like that. Okay, I'm going to play Urza Saga. That's going to be the way that I probably win this game. And since this grows my Urza Saga constructs, I believe this is worth the life here. So I will go ahead and pay my tax, like the good citizen of mono black land that I am. Although, you know, we're not truly a mono black deck here, but this has absolute mono black energy. Okay. Opponent's got some big mana. Like, next turn they can theoretically play a card. But I have some relatively large Urza Saga construct tokens, and I'm probably going to chain, like, Urza Saga into Expedition Map to just, like, keep going down this route. Okay. Still no plays. So, end of turn, I'll fetch. Grab a Badlands. Again, if my opponent Blood Moons, like, it becomes a mountain. And that is a-okay with me. I don't think I need another Nether Void here. So let's make a new construct token. I think we just keep this train going here. Let's grab the map. I'll bash in for 5 while my creature still has the power and toughness increase from Expedition Map. And I'll go ahead and pay the life to crack that, grabbing a new Urza Saga. And we'll go ahead and put that in play. And now if we randomly get, you know, our artifacts wiped by a fiery confluence or something like that, I'm still prepared. Okay, you've got a lot of colorless mana. Can you do anything with it? Okay, a spell is happening. Rack and Ruin. I have never seen that card before. That's targeting both of my in-play constructs, which is fine. Like, I am still very much on the correct side of the Urza Saga value train. Alright, there is a Lotus Petal. I can go 1, 2 to make my Urza Saga construct creature. And I can pay 2 life to put another artifact into play. Which, again, I think I am fine with. Alright, so there is my 3 for Nether Void. And I've got some very large Urza Saga construct tokens incoming. Hazoret would be a little annoying. Okay, Legion War Boss, not that big of a deal. I'm about to get a Shadow Spear and hopefully take over the game that way. This has to attack. I will go ahead and make my creature here. And take my, air quotes, free block. I guess technically my opponent could have Simian Spirit Guide, Fury, red card, or something like that. Ooh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I actually could get a Lotus Petal here and both make an Urza Saga construct token and kill Legion War Boss. It might be a touch greedy. I think I'm just going to go ahead and get the Shadow Spear this turn, and yeah, I think I will just get the Shadow Spear this turn, gain the life, and then play this next turn and wipe my opponent's board. All right, there's Shadow Spear. Okay, yeah, that's good enough. All right, That was a long game. That was turn 6 there. I don't really have any play versus draw things that I can do. I really don't like being on the draw in this matchup. There's a Pyroclasm. How much mana in theory do I have on turn 1? 1, 2, 3, 4 mana on turn 1. Give me a turn 1 Nether Void. I think this hand is a keep. I think I'm hoping to like draw like a Dark Ritual and get towards this very quickly. That's a ritual for 6 mana. That's just turn 1 Inferno of Starmounts? I mean, surely I do that. Alright, so I'm always playing Lotus Petal. I'm always playing Scalding Tarn and fetching Badlands. And then from here, I do have to think. I don't believe that I want to Nether Void. I want to Jessica's Will. I'm thinking about this Chrome Mox. I think I'm going to keep the Spirit Guide in my hand for a very, well, opponent seems to be F6'd now. Okay, if my opponent is F6'd, then I will go ahead and just do this. Get my 6 mana, play my Giant Dragon, crash in for 6. I've got Pyroclasm to sweep my opponent's smaller creatures. I have to worry about, like, Fury into Bone Crusher Giant or Double Fury or something like that. But otherwise, this creature is freaking huge. The Ancient Dragon Inferno. Nope. Too much cough medicine to pronounce that name. Has earned its fiery nickname. Invernarho. Yeah, okay. You may absolutely Sorcerer Spyglass and shut off the ability of my dragon. I respect that. I guess Ancient Tomb is my best draw. Ancient Tomb lets me play Nether Void here. Oh, okay. I thought we would shut off the onboard Fire Breathing card. Not doing so actually changes the clock, right? Because I can just get 2 extra damage this turn. 3 extra damage if I want. Don't think I want. I think there's worlds where it's more important to channel that mana into Nether Void or another relevant card. Alright. Let's crash in and Fire Breathing twice. Opponent goes to 6, which is lethal this turn. So they have to answer my dragon. Full stop. Okay, I guess technically partial stop. There could be an ensnaring bridge. Hey, dragon time. Hey folks, this league was sponsored by Top Decked, which is an all-in-one Magic the Gathering companion app / website. I know some people aren't the biggest fan of kind of the view options, and I just wanted to let you know that Lincoln, the developer of the app, recently added a compact view option. So if you're more interested in just like the raw text of the cards and you don't necessarily want the visuals, you can do that. Or if you're into that like arena look, they've got that too. Anyway, consider checking them out. Back to the magic. Okay. I have 4. I just go like Badlands, Petal, Spirit Guide, Nether Void on turn 1. Fuck it, let's go. Let's go. Oh. That's a little awkward. Let's just top deck a big fucking dragon. Ask and you shall receive. Okay. Badlands, Spirit Guide, Petal, Seething Song, Chandra. Pretty good. We'll do that on turn 1. That's okay. I don't know that that wins 100% of the time, but it's what we're doing. Exile 2 Spirit Guides to Seething Song, 6 mana, Uncounterable Planeswalker, and we start trying to plus this thing into Oblivion. If my opponent's land drop wasn't Urza's Saga on turn 1, I would be pretty into just playing the Nether Void. But if they have Ancient Tomb as the follow-up, which is pretty likely given that they led on Urza Saga on turn 1, that just like ends up not being great for me. Ooh, they are lands. Sure. Absolutely. Let's plus this again. I'll play my own Urza Saga out, which doesn't necessarily do a lot right now. And we see if my opponent has a main deck Pithing Needle for their Urza Saga. If they do, I still do just have 2 points of damage a turn guaranteed. Ooh, they do not have a Pithing Needle. Do have another Urza Saga. Could be going to Dark Depths Town here with Expedition Map. We are going to Dark Depths Town. So I might not... Ooh. Alright, always plus. Now the question is, like... Is it better for me to Urza's Saga and put pressure on my opponent? Or is it better for me to Nether Void to make future crop rotation type cards significantly worse? A lot of questions currently involve whether or not my opponent has crop rotation up exactly right now. So if I play Ancient Tomb, I make a construct, I get an artifact into play. I get to attack for 3. This is really tough. I'm going to play the Nether Void, I think. In the worlds where my opponent doesn't have crop rotation right now, I really get to eat away at my opponent's life total with these Chandra emblems. And hopefully kill my opponent before they do their thing. Yet they have both sides of the equation. So, I don't have Pithing Needle game 1, unfortunately. Alright. So, what am I doing here? Shadow Spear, I guess? Attempt to get above 21. Sounds good. So let's funnel my mana into equipping here. Then continue to plus my Planeswalker into Oblivion. End of turn, my opponent will probably make a construct token. Yeah. So I will bolt my opponent for 4. Those triggers. And my opponent is probably just floating mana, making Merit Lodge, and then killing me on their next turn. I'm 1 artifact away from being where I want to be. Yeah, there's the Merit Lodge. And I don't have a lot to say about that, unfortunately. I can gain 3 life. My own Nether Void probably costs me the game here because I can't Jessica's Will looking for additional artifacts. Hold on, wait. Oh, fuck, I can only do 17 to that Merit Lodge. I can attack and go to 19. Yeah, playing out the Nether Void lost me this game because my opponent had both pieces in hand already and didn't need to cast any more spells. The activated ability is so close to letting me kill Merit Lodge. Damn it. Yeah, and I was a little worried about this card, like, not winning the game when it was played on turn 1. Rightfully so. Alpine Moon is pretty strong here. I'll move the Pithing Needle into deck. I want Ensnaring Bridge as a tutor target still. I might even play Explosives as a way to just clear out my opponent's Moxen. My Trinispheres and Nether Voids are my worst cards here. Because my opponent has, like, Urza Sagas and stuff that, like, are just very good at winning through this, as well as Thespian Stage and Dark Depths. That said, I probably don't get to board all of this crap out just because I don't have enough reasonable things to board in. Leyline is eh. Leyline really used to just be like this slam dunk card versus lands, and now I really don't feel like it's even that good in the matchups, just generally speaking. Like, it shuts off some life from the loams, like, which is cool and all, but lands is much more about onboard stuff, and has been really since Valakut Exploration was printed. I have about 6 cards that I can board in. I think I'm going to board out all of the Nether Voids, and then board out... Oh, shit, there was this stuff, too. Maybe I don't board in all those ley lines, then. Or no, I said I wanted to keep Bridge as a tutor target. So if I'm willing to go out on all of these, I can play the ley lines. I guess the ley lines are castable in this deck with Dark Ritual. Maybe I ley line on the draw and do still just keep Trinisphere on the play. I would buy that. Okay. I can play an Urza Saga hand with this. But I don't really like Urza Saga hands versus the Wasteland deck. Let's try to put some big dumb bullshit into play. Yes, this is going to be a keep. Incarn on turn 2. I'm going to keep this hand. I really need all of the lands that are in this hand. I kind of like the idea of just Alpine Moon on Wasteland on turn 1. And then have mana stability. I think I need to throw back this card in order to keep this. And then I can just kind of play super safely in regards to my mana here. Alright, we never worry about Wasteland. Now I've got Badlands into Karn, or my primary thing that I do for my turn. Ooh, god, that card is going to be good. Hopefully. The worlds where the Karn isn't good, some things went very wrong. And that can happen, but hopefully wins me the game. Karn, and I'll just plus on that Mox Diamond immediately. Okay, there is a Force of Vigor pitching a Life from the Loam. I'll plus on that Mox Diamond. If I have the onboard active Planeswalker, I'm less worried about getting Wastelanded into Oblivion. I think it can still happen. More other Karn. Let's go ahead and minus this. Yes, I will pick up Liquid Metal Coating here. I am fine just not getting Wastelanded in this turn cycle, I guess. I'll pick up another Mountain and play Rashad and Pour Out. And in my opponent's upkeep, go ahead and make it so that that doesn't produce mana this turn, so my opponent can't, like, Life from the Loam back that Wasteland. Okay, and that's good enough to get the concession. Good stuff. Okay, so Sphere on the draw is significantly worse, because my opponent gets to play out all their, like, fast mana and explorations and stuff like that. It will defend against Force of Vigors a little better. I think I'm going to go ahead and take these out for ley lines. I will not mulligan to a ley line, and there will even be some worlds where, like, I don't even play use a ley line that's in my opening hand if I have Chrome Mox very specifically. How is this hand? This hand is not as fast as I would like a hand to be. This is a turn 3 Karn with a ley line to start with. I don't know that this wins. It's not bad. It's not good either. I think I'm going to fish for a just objectively more powerful hand. This produces a turn 3 very real threat. I will keep this hand. A little awkward. And that in order to keep the turn, like the turn 3, I have to keep this mana. I get Sorcerous Spyglass on turn 1. I keep Wooded Foothills in my hands to keep access to Badlands. Dark Ritual is a better draw. Awkward for me. Oh, this is very awkward. I'm not going to leave myself the flexibility of having Dark Ritual being a good draw. I would rather have the basic land that I can play out. I think. A little close. That's fine. And, like, this sort of situation is exactly why I'm not, like, super keen on Trinisphere. That's very good against my stuff. I guess we can work towards Karn and Snaring Bridge as a thing that's good. Oh, Wasteland's very good against me right now. I don't think I get to play out Mountain, though, after drawing Karn. I don't know. Like, maybe I can still play out Mountain if I don't get Wastelanded. And then commit to using the Lotus Petal for Karn, but I don't want to commit to using the Lotus Petal for Karn if I can at all help it. Alright. Mountain, play my own Shadow Spear. My opponent's Shadow Spear is much better than mine, though. I just don't think I have a lot of game on this matchup on the draw. I think their deck is just, like, very well suited to fight against my Trinispheres and Nethervoids, and my lands for that matter. Also just not great at dealing with Merit Lodge. I think my opponent is going to get me here. I have to try to pivot into an Ensnaring Bridge situation, I think. It's just, like, very not good for me. Like, I can play out this Karn. Karn minus. Yes. Super frustrating that that sideboard keeps getting so small. Pick up Ensnaring Bridge and be super dead to a Wasteland. Like, Wasteland killing this City of Traders is awful, and, like, opponent basically has an onboard Wasteland depending on how they deal with the current situation. It doesn't help that I have multiple 6 drops in play. Sorry, in hand. My opponent just went for my face directly rather than addressing me via Karn. 1, 2, 3, or 5 mana. I don't really want to play this land drop. Do I just Karn minus get engineered explosives, play EE for 0, not make a land drop? Leave ensnaring bridge in hand so I don't eat like a Force of Vigor or a Boseiju in this turn cycle. Oh, sorry. Fuck. Expedition map is not an immediate wasteland because of Karn. I have stored mana here. Really awkward for me. If I EE. Alright, let's minus the Karn. Yes. Oh, fuck. Boarded in the EE. Damn. Okay, I boarded in the EE. Alright. Go ahead and play out a Tormod's Crypt. Go ahead and cast an Ensnaring Bridge. Things currently cannot attack. Going to pass the turn here, knowing full well that there are a couple of things that are super awkward for me if I don't play this land drop. But it kind of feels to me like my opponent has like a Boseiju or an answer to the Ensnaring Bridge since they didn't just kill Karn last turn anyway. So an awkward thing that can happen is my opponent can Punishing Fire my Karn and then crack an Expedition map in order to take an artifact out of play and then attack with the construct tokens, which will be 3/3s. Okay, that is Force of Vigor. Yep, and that is 8 on board damage, and I will die. GG's. Tough matchup here. I want to see if I would have drawn a mana source next turn to take one of these out of my hand. I would have. All right, round 2 here. I have a lot of mana on turn 2, but I can't actually Nether Void on turn 2, right? Like, I could Seething Song into Seething Song on turn 2, but, like, I have to Lotus Petal in order to Seething Song. I don't have black mana to make Nether Void. So, how many giant, big, dumb hits do I have? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I have 11 hits, kind of 15 hits to make this hand good. I think I'd rather just mulligan this, though. This has turned into an unexciting turn 2 Trinisphere hand, which I will probably just be keeping. I'm not really in the market for a City of Traders anytime soon. I think I'm just going to toss that back so that like I can keep double Mountain in case we are playing against a Wasteland deck of some kind. Dark Ritual. Dark Ritual Trinisphere on turn 1 is very good in a lot of worlds, but then makes my Expedition map in hand significantly more awkward. I think I'm just going to wait a turn to play Trinisphere around Days and Friends and make this Expedition map dazeable. Alright, no end of turn brainstorm from my opponent or anything. Oh, now I wish I would have just jammed the Trinisphere after seeing Underground Sea. Like, I could die this turn. Fuck. Actually, if it's just Doomsday, I'm okay against that. Yeah, but I got super punished for, like, playing conservatively after seeing Scalding Tarn, which very frequently represents a Delver deck. Okay, in good news, my opponent is playing a Daze deck, so, like... Oh, fuck, are we going now? Jesus. I got so incredibly punished for not playing that Trinisphere. Yep, so now they just play Lotus Petal into Thassa's Oracle. Alright, cool. I am dead for not going for it on turn 1. That happens. So, I don't have a lot of things that I want to change about boarding. Torpor Orb is really good. Flame Needle is playable. There's a lot of things in here I don't really need. Like, I don't really need a Shadow Spear. Like, stubbing that or, like, Pithing Needle is very free. And then the question is, like, do I want to Karn for Torpor Orb, or do I just want to be able to play out a Torpor Orb? I think for the sake of speed, I want to be able to play this out. What comes out as this other card? I can just board out an Elvish Spirit Guide or like a Jeska's Will or something. I could also board down a Karn. Karn's okay at stopping artifact mana, but it doesn't stop my opponent from just like casting their spells for the most part. I don't think I'm going to board down any mana when Go Fast is part of the plan. All right. Let's go fast. This is not going fast, so I will mulligan it. Oh, hell. Well, this is a keep. I'll throw back a Dark Ritual here, and hope my opponent doesn't open up on a Force of Will. Play out Lotus Petal ahead of time. Badlands. Dark Ritual. I will be using another Dark Ritual here. Okay. So I guess I just pass the turn here and then play Nether Void next turn. And play a Nether Void next turn around a Daze for what that's worth. Thoughtseize is very good against me right now. Okay, the opponent's just doomsdaying. Oh, they are duressing. Losing Nether Void's real rough here. A Dark Ritual, so something else is coming. Oh, Jesus, Doomsday as well. What an insane hand. Alright, my opponent has made their pile. I'm going to get another turn, but like I have to top deck something relevant. That is not something relevant. I guess I play that. There's some worlds in which my opponent built a slow pile. But given that my opponent, like, knows I have nothing, I think they just build, like, a pile that wins this turn. I didn't look at their graveyard to see what all they had, but I think they just build, like, an LED-based pile. For sure, this will work, too. Yeah, this works without exposing 2 Karn. Alright, and we just got very quickly dispatched by Doomsday. Just in terms of matchup profiles, Doomsday tends to be very good against the Chalice decks. It is very good at ignoring the lock pieces that we play. 1 and 2 now? 1 and 2 now. Alright, round 4. There's also a world where my opponent is playing another Void deck here, by the way. I can fetch Badlands, Dark Ritual into Trinisphere on turn 1. Really awkward that I have Elvish Spirit Guide and not Simian Spirit Guide here. I don't know that I actually like this. I don't know. Maybe I don't play Trinisphere on turn 1. And then just produce an Inferno on turn 2. I think I'm going to keep the hand regardless. I think I am not going to Trinisphere on turn 1. Immediately before starting recording this league, I saw my opponent post a screenshot of another Void deck list that they were playing. So I don't think I like just jamming Trinisphere against that on turn 1 blind. Well, not totally blind. Yeah, this is fine. Okay, cool. Now I can go land drop, fetch. We'll grab the Badlands. Let's Badlands. Yeah. Let's Dark Ritual into Seething Song, into Pitch Spirit Guide, into Seething Song. 9 total mana. 6, 9. Into Trinisphere. Into Inferno. Bash for 6 flying haste damage. Backed by Trinisphere. This is now a 2-turn clock because of Fire Breathing. Urza Saga is fine. That feels too slow to matter here. Opponent's not going to get a play. Let's crash in with my giant dragon. Do a little Fire Breathing. And then deal my opponent 8. I don't think I need to deal them 9 here for any reason. Urza Saga ticks up. And yeah, there we have a concession. Good stuff. Okay, so just so you all know what my opponent is playing here, they are playing like this Artifact Shark Typhoon Stompy deck that also includes Nether Void. I sent this to my Discord immediately before starting this league. So this is a little awkward in that this is a Nether Void mirror. I think I want my Nether Voids out more than I want my Trinispheres out. I'm going to assume bringing Pithing Needle into the main deck is fine. I think I'm going to end up bringing in Ley Lines for Timeless Dragon. Super weird. But, like, I don't super want Nether Voids. I don't really want Trinispheres. I want to be able to tutor for Ensnaring Bridge. I bit myself in the butt by not boarding in EE before. I'm going to treat EE as an early play and board out another Trinisphere here. And then be sad some portion of the time. I don't think I want Alpine Moon. I am 1 mana source away from making a very early Chandra Awakened Inferno. I think I keep this hand. With any mana source, I just make turn 2 Chandra Awakened Inferno. I'm going to believe in my deck's ability to draw a mana source. I have a lot of them. I have so many of them. And if I draw an Ancient Tomb specifically, I just, boom, turn 1. Alright, there is my Leyline, which maybe does something against a Timeless Dragon at some point in this game. Ooh. Triome, Rafine's Tower. Or I guess not technically a Triome, Triland. Urza's Saga. I don't want to play that on turn 1, I don't think. I'll play a Scalding Turn, and I play out Pithing Needle on turn 1? No? Feels like no. I do think I play out this. And then I think I'll just pass the turn. Like, I can Pithing Needle just Karn the Great Creator blind on turn 1 here, but, like, there's other things that I care about that my opponent can do. Don't think I'm totally down with that. Alright, always playing out Urza's Saga. Always fetching. I think I just get a Badlands here. I guess I Chrome Mox a Seething Song rather than double Seething Song here. Cast a Seething Song and make an uncounterable Planeswalker. Now, again, this card does not necessarily mean that I win the game, right? Like, my opponent can have a Pithing Needle effect, and all of a sudden, like, my big turn has been mitigated by so much. There's a Tundra. And now my opponent has a very real clock in play against them. Alright, there's a City of Traders into Karn. So I absolutely could have Pithing Needled that on turn 1 and chose not to. And I may very well get punished by losing out on an Urza Saga Construct token for that decision. Can this actually, this can hit Planeswalkers, right? Yeah, my minus ability can stop that. Sure. That's fine. Kind of drew a mana source. So, do I want to -6 this, or do I just want to Pithing Needle it? I think I just want to Pithing Needle it. Alright, so let's cast Pithing Needle. Shut off their Karn, and continue to plus my creature here, or my Planeswalker here. My opponent takes 2 more in upkeep, and then I just kind of hope that my opponent can't close out the game before my Chandra emblem kills them. There's worlds where they definitely can. Like, they've got big dumb stuff like Shark Typhoon in their deck. Speaking of, there it is. Alright. This will be a float of mana situation. I don't really know what I'm getting with this. My artifacts are not currently active due to Karn. I am going to get a Lotus Petal. Doesn't do a lot right now, but I'm going to get it. I think I am just going to go ahead and play out an Expedition map here. Continue to plus my Planeswalker. And hope that my opponent can't outclock me. I am dealing 3, then 4, then 5. Like, I'm still at 19. I can kill my opponent's Karn if I ever need to do that. Alright. So, what does this thing do exactly? Alright. Draw 2 cards and discard a card. Create a pilot. This thing has crew 8. The pilots do something weird, right? Yeah, they do. I think I'm okay. I think I just plus for 4, and then plus for 5, and my Planeswalker is out of range of being just attacked by this and killed. It's gonna be close, folks, but I think I'm okay. The Ancient Tomb is now, I believe, effectively off. I don't think my opponent can deal 14 to this creature. And if my opponent manages to, like, do some Shark Typhoon nonsense, they can attack for 12 on this, not 14. Yeah, I think I'm okay. So they've got a little bit of card advantage here. That thing's also synergistic with Timeless Dragon. By the way, discarding Timeless Dragon with that, and then, like, returning it via its ability is some sick value. Alright. Are we good? All right, I am being attacked by a shark. That is fine. I go to 15, and then I just think I plus here, and I'm good. Plus opponent, like, randomly gains some life somehow. Is there any sort of Swords to Plowshares type card? There's 3 Swords to Plowshares out of the board. Yeah, I guess I could Swords to Plowshares or on Shark or something to buy a turn. Yeah, I guess that's their current out. Or a Pithing Needle effect on my Planeswalker, I guess. I do have 1 main deck Pithing Needle. Yeah, there is a Cycled Timeless Dragon. Winning a Tundra. They're still representing Swords to Plowshares on one of their own creatures as an out. There is another Spirit Guide. I think I'm going to put them to the test and force them to have the Swords to Plowshares for their own creature here. Don't think I want to Spirit Guide Jessica's Will to try and hit a land drop. Play them this turn. Yeah, I don't think that makes a lot of sense here. Okay, yeah, there is the Swords to Plowshares on the Shark to buy a turn. Now, it is a turn, because, like, I hit for 5 and then 6, so my opponent needs to do that same sort of thing again, or otherwise kill me directly. Glad that I figured out that out. Makes me feel good. Alright, so we have stopped a Timeless Dragon from coming back with our Leyline. Opponent's starting to do cool stuff. There is a Nether Void, absolutely. I'm going to take 2 here. That's fine. Another Chandra Awakened Inferno. So my minus ability here is 3 damage, which does not kill this shark. I can minus... No, my opponent has the mana up now. So if they have another Swords to Plowshares, I can't actually stop that. Another Void means that my whole Simian Spirit Guide, Jessica's Will plan is now off the table. I guess I am just plussing again. And in the worlds where my opponent doesn't have yet another Swords to Plowshares, I'm good. Okay, there is the concession, and we win the match. Wild round, though. Another Void Mirror. Check that off your bingo card. Check it off the card. All right, final round here. I have a hand of unknown quality. And what I mean by that is, like, this hand is as good as Jessica's Will is. If my opponent has a whole bunch of cards in hand still on my turn 2, I get to just, like, make 6 mana, make a Chandra Awaken Inferno, and go that route. There's a lot of worlds where it ends up being turn 2 Karn instead. I think this hand is good enough to keep. It's vastly improved by an Ancient Tomb, and I could see this being a mulligan as well. This is a high upside, low floor hand. Like, this hand is going to be great or terrible with very little in between. Okay. I don't really need black mana right now. I think I am on board with using my mana. The only thing is that there's worlds where my opponent casts a Prismatic Ending on an Expedition map, and then my opponent has 1 fewer cards in hand. How many cards is my opponent likely to have? Likely to have 5 cards in hand. I do not want my opponent to cast a spell. I am not going to play out Expedition map. I am not going to give them a Prismatic Ending target for if we are playing against green-white depths here. Like, I really need my opponent to have 5 cards in hand so that I can do cool shit next turn. Fuck. We're not playing against the... Wow, no attack? That's wild. Alright. Oh... Urza Saga, Lotus Petal, Jessica's Will for 4 mana, Karn is pretty good. Then I shut off Expedition map. I'm not sure if that's better than just killing Elvish Reclaimer, though. Which I can do. Oh, wait, no, I can't. Urza Saga, Lotus Petal, Jessica's Will. Yeah, I can not do that. Yeah, my opponent playing out that Expedition map there was really quite rough for me. And I think I'm going to use the Jessica's Will while the getting is good here. Already very wastelandable, so I'm going to just pick up Badlands. Jessica's Will for 4 mana. Play out a Karn. Filling off map. My opponent still has other tutors available. think I'm just gonna plus this and keep my loyalty high. And pass my turn. I don't need to play out the Lotus Petal here for any reason. I've got some flexibility next turn with what I do with the Karn. Absolutely punished. I was going to say there's a lot of worlds where I get EE on one, and then Elvish Reclaimer is allergic to attacking. Jessica's Will is not the piece of mana acceleration that I am currently hoping for. And playing this in the other mode is not particularly great right now. I am about to make a very sad play. I'm about to play an expedition map and lose a Lotus Petal to get a more persistent source of mana. I think it has to be Ancient Tomb. Go ahead and play that. Ancient Tomb allows for some potential Jessica Will into Chandra lines next turn. But we're not like playing against the like blue cantripy stuff that I would like to be playing against with my Nether Void deck. We have gotten very bad pairings in that regard. We are very much looking to prey on like slow control decks that Tabernacle. Actively bad for my opponent here. They're just going to rotate that away though. Jessica's Will only breaks even here. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 showing mana. Lotus Petal will be my 6th mana. Definitely floating the mana here. Or actually, it'll probably be a Chrome Mox. Yep, that's fine. Very good. Alright, so let's go ahead and Chrome Mox. Imprint Jessica's Will. Go up to 6 mana for this. And I think I'm just going to -3 this rather than -2 this to better play around crop rotation, making that creature larger. Not an elemental. Alright, 3 damage to each non-elemental creature. But kind of given my opponent's play patterns, I expect they're going to cast some big dumb Eldrazi this turn. And then I'm going to lose. Oh, we have a crop rotation. Oh, fuck, it's... I played around this wrong. Like, that was stupid. Like, I talked about that, and then I just thought about power instead of toughness. That's on me. I just punted this game. I think I lose this game anyway to my opponent casting a big dumb Eldrazi, but, like, I talked about playing around the thing and then just used the wrong value. Yeah, I would not have beaten this card even with this at a different loyalty amount and, like, still alive. Yeah, I'm not beating that here. Giving myself for my play a little bit because, like, I talked about the exact thing that I needed to do and then I didn't do it properly. Yeah, I am fine conceding the game here. I would not have won even with better play there. Like, I would plus this creature this turn, then be dead to, like, an Emrakul or something. Alpine Moon is real strong here. I want to be able to Urza's Saga for Pithing Needle. I want to have access to this out of the board. Access to this out of the board. EE could go into the main deck. Technically, Pyroclasm could too. Neither card is super good. So I have cards that are okay in the early game and terrible late game. And I have cards that are actively good early game and pretty much irrelevant late game. I don't think a Trinisphere beats my opponent. I think I'm going to keep Nethervoid in the deck over Trinisphere. I am basically hoping to have Inferno-based hands here. There's a lot to ask for from your 3 of, but I think the big old dragon hands are the ones that win. The big old dragon hand? Chromox, Imprint, Alpine Moon, play Ancient Tomb. That's 3 mana for Seething Song. Seething Song plus Spirit Guide goes up to 6 mana. Yes, this is a keep. It unfortunately does require me to Chromox Alpine Moon, which otherwise would be a very strong card in the matchup. But that's okay. Alright, Alpine Moon, under you go. Play Ancient Tomb. Seething Song, 5 mana. Inferno of the Star Mounts, which is uncounterable. And I will bash in for 6 damage. Gonna drop my opponent to 14. This is going to be a 2-turn clock because I can activate the fire breathing effect to deal 7 each turn. And I also can potentially use Expedition Map to search up another more permanent red source so that like a random Force of Vigor on my mocks doesn't just turn into like my opponent getting 1 extra turn. They found a Thespian stage. Maze of Ith is currently the thing that like potentially beats me. Alright, there is another red source. Go ahead and crash in for 6. And then I'll go ahead and do my fire breathing. I'll do it again. Opponent drops to 6. I am a-okay with taking some damage to just play out Expedition Map here. I have lethal on board, even without any fire breathing. There is a Glacial Chasm in my opponent's deck. Sure, that's fine. There's a Glacial Chasm in my opponent. Fuck, this is legendary? Okay. Didn't know that part. Alright, so now I just need to wiggle into a situation where I have enough mana to cast this thing and stop a Karakas as well. Or I need my opponent to drop Karakas. I'm not really favored anymore. My opponent can just play a Dark Depths this turn, and then shit gets real awkward for me. Luckily, that did not happen. I'm not going to fetch with this yet. It probably gets Badlands most of the time. This Karakas is awkward. I died a crop rotation here. See if my opponent has it. They do. I am dead. Oh. They do not have a Dark Depths in their deck. Alright, Thespian Stage, copying a Cloud Post instead. Okay, cool. Glimmer Post is annoying. It doesn't necessarily... Alright, I have to fetch with Scalding Tarn there. Pick up Badlands. My Dark Ritual remains live. Tarn the Great Creator has been shut off. I want to draw Chandra Awakened Inferno instead. Classic. Classic. I'm still going to play this to shut off Expedition Map. Like, every little bit matters. Alright, so I don't get to just go on a liquid metal coating rampage here. Okay. That'll beat me. I think I just concede here. I can't think of any real outs. My opponent at 8 specifically can't really do this. And my opponent just bounces this and gets my remaining 2 permanents. I will concede here. GG's. And we end up with a 2-3 in this league. Overall thoughts on the deck list. Honestly, I think it's kind of hard to evaluate this deck based on this league because we played against so few actual blue decks where, like, the Nether Voids and Trinispheres are going to do the things that, like, I really want them to do. Most of the decks that we played against, like, dodged the primary things that my deck was built around. Like, this very much feels like an anti-blue deck, and then we played against a bunch of, like, big mana and Chalice decks. I will say... Inferno of the Star Mounts is a card that was not on my radar prior to this league, and now, like, very much is on my radar as something that I should consider in deck building. I did lose a game to it being legendary in the final round here, so, like, that's a thing. But outside of that, like, that card is hard to deal with. It comes down very fast. It's uncounterable. I like a lot of what's going on here. I will say this is an extremely high variance deck where, like, not only are your hands high variance, but, like, your matchup profiles feel high variance to me. Like, this feels like a deck where if you run hot with it, like, you're going to crush. But then there's going to be a lot of times where, like, oh, I have Jessica's Will, but my opponent has the wrong number of cards in hand, so I can't actually do the cool thing that I want my deck to do. I think there's going to be a lot of situations like that. Generally speaking, this one gets a thumbs up for casual play, but I don't think I would be comfortable bringing this to a competitive event. I had access to some pretty good tools, and it was a lot of fun to play. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please click the like button on the way out. Helps out a lot. And if you are in the financial position to do so, please consider sponsoring one of my videos in the future, becoming a YouTube member, or joining my Patreon to help support my content. Have a great rest of the day, folks. See ya!